On January 28, 1986, Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart 73 seconds into its flight, supposedly killing all 7 crew members aboard. Dick Scobie, commander; Michael J. Smith, pilot; Ronald McNair, mission specialist; Ellison Onizuka, mission specialist; Judith Resnik, mission specialist; Gregory Jarvis, payload specialist; and Krista McAuliffe, payload specialist. The spacecraft disintegrated 46,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of Cape Canaveral, Florida, at 4:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was the first fatal accident involving an American spacecraft while in flight.
T-minus 21 seconds, and the solid rocket booster engine gimbal now underway. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Now control. Roger, roll, Challenger. Velocity 2,257 feet per second. Altitude 4.3 nautical miles. Downrange distance 3 nautical miles.
So the 25th Space Shuttle mission is now on the way after more delays than NASA cares to count. This morning it looked as though they were not going to be able to get off.
1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
Looks like a couple of the solid rocket boosters blew away from the side of the shuttle in an explosion.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
NASA was designed by the powers that be, and unfortunately, they feel many times it's in their best interest not to provide their citizens the truth. The Challenger disaster was witnessed by millions of people around the world, and the disturbing footage you're about to see was produced from multiple sources to reflect consistency. What you take away from what you're about to see will most certainly make only the illogical, not question everything we've been told.
So imagine you're at the launch of the Challenger. This is a historic moment, and it blows up in midair. Whether you are personally related to somebody on there or don't know anybody, you're going to be a mess. This is an emotional, incredible scene. And CNN was reporting, and they told the cameraman, let's get a live shot of Krista's parents. And when they zoomed in on them, they were giggling. They were laughing. They were smiling. I don't know how you can put a smile on someone's face, even if you told them the funniest joke in the world at that very moment. Just look at their face. Is that the face of somebody whose daughter just blew up in the most horrific, violent accident ever? Or is that somebody playing a role, not knowing that they're on camera and thinking about the money that they may have got? You can hide somebody that's allegedly dead right in plain sight. All you have to do is move them a little farther away, give them a different job, claim that they're somebody else. You don't even need to change their name.
So statistically speaking, the odds that almost everyone on the Challenger have exact lookalikes with exact names still existing is kind of laughable, honestly. Exact doppelgängers existing in the world with the same names, and when confronted, they get very nervous, and their stories begin to conflict, and they have the same mannerisms. You know, it doesn't take a lot to put it together, honestly.
What's even more interesting is this. Let's take a look at this footage from then-President Ronald Reagan's memorial service for the Challenger crew. Here we can see the parents and siblings of Ellison Onizuka. But where is his living twin brother Claude? And here we can see the family of Ronald McNair. But his living twin brother Carl is nowhere to be seen. The reason Carl and Claude were not in attendance for their deceased brother's memorial is the same reason why there are no birth records for either of them. They do not exist.
Let's start with former NASA astronaut Michael J. Smith, with the same name as this retired professor from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university? Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stopped by because there's a room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
And I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look alike. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like. What? 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael J. Smith, identical looks, dimples the same, teeth the same. There's really no denying it. And before he could finish the question, Michael denied it. Oh, that's not me, and laughed it off. What's he going to say? Oh, you got me? Not going to happen.
We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public.
Next is former NASA astronaut Judith Resnik with an exact doppelganger working at Yale University. 37 years have passed and she hasn't even changed her name. Side by side, there's no denying it. When she's approached, she has a very odd way of not responding.
Hey, Judy? How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press?
From a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about
I'm sorry.
Space Shuttle. No, I want to be polite. Friendly. Just a question. So there's a lot of rumors about you being on that space shuttle. Obviously, if you want to comment, we would really appreciate it.
Kind of odd that Judith is in full panic mode when realizing the press is in her presence. She's no stranger to being in the spotlight. She even made her way into Hollywood for a quick cameo.
If the choice is to allow Americans to be taken as hostages or to be executed, I'll bring my own King Road. Saddam backed down, and Ambassador Wilson helped thousands get safely home. When he himself came home to the United States, he was warmly greeted by our president, who took him to the Oval Office and introduced him to the War Cabinet as an American hero.
Commander Dick Scobie had a company called Cows and Trees, and when you went to his website, there was an animation of a cow taking off like a rocket with a smoke stream coming out of its backside, doing a twisty curl in the air that looked remarkably just like what we saw with the Challenger. And after we started making videos on that and it started going viral, that website disappeared, never to be seen again.
And nobody could have predicted back in 1986 that in 30 some odd years from then, that there would be something called the internet that would bring all this information to the tip of your fingers, and you'd be able to search through pictures, Facebooks, websites, profiles. Now these people are scared. They're hiding their profiles. They're deleting their websites. They're making their Facebooks private.
Onizuka and McNair are always together. They're hanging out at NASA and always talking about themselves.
Ellison Onizuka. If you look at clips of him back in 1986 when this happened, he actually spoke like, every other word was,
Let me say that it's really a pleasure to be back.
If you look at clips of his brother, Claude, now speaking, it's the same exact thing. Every other word is,
But Ellison's dream is continued to be carried on.
I think we got some...
we're very fortunate that
I think we're ready to go fly
Thanks for being out here today.
His brother just so happens to be the spokesperson for the Challenger tragedy. Why aren't there any pictures of his brother back when this happened? Why didn't his brother speak at the funeral? Use your head.
Former Governor Ariyoshi, who has a story about a picture that survived the Challenger disaster.
Ellison Onizuka came to see me one day, and he wanted a family photo. And he wanted to take it up on a Challenger, and he's going to bring it back, inscribe it, and autograph it. But that Challenger accident happened, and I felt very sorry to lose Ellison. But I didn't even think about the photo. I thought everything else must have been destroyed completely. About 2 months later, Lorna Onizuka called me and told me that they found in the water, NASA found the personal preference kit of Ellison Onizuka. And she said there were 2 things in there. One was a monk's prayer, and the other was his family portrait. So I told her, oh, then it must be in terrible condition because the astronauts, the big bang up and the ocean in the water for 2 months. She told me, no, it's in perfect condition. I said, I'm going to bring the picture over to you and give it to you. And then in the meantime, NASA got the picture and they put this together for us.
Ronald McNair conveniently has a twin brother named Carl McNair who looks exactly like him and is at a lot of the events now, but was nowhere to be found when the explosion happened.
Krista McAuliffe was a fairly new teacher, just 3 years at that school. To get her story planted, all of these people, the parents, the astronauts, everyone involved that you saw, are crisis actors.
Essie was at the Cape in the stands to see Tuesday's launch, a sight that she says still haunts her.
Why didn't I leave too? But I thought, no, I want to stay and see it.
And as she read Mike's invitation for the launch, Miss Hesse said that she doesn't know if she'll be emotionally ready for a service like that in his hometown.
Since I won't be able to see you all in person, let me say thanks for coming and have a great time. And I hope you see a good show.
George Bush Sr. hand-selected the teacher, Krista McAuliffe. What are the odds that 30 years later, there is a professor at Syracuse University with the name Sharon McAuliffe?
I still can't believe that I'm going to actually be going into that shuttle. It just really doesn't seem possible.
Krista McAuliffe was asked if she had any fears about her space shuttle flight.
People really feel that space travel is safe now. It's not that earlier feeling that, oh, it's going to blow up or something's going to happen. Right at this point, I feel that I'll be okay if I go up.
Well, where's Jarvis? How come you haven't located him? And the answer is, he could have died of natural causes, a heart attack, a car accident, 3, 4, 5 years later, and it would never be reported.
Our nation held a vigil by our television sets. In one cruel moment, our exhilaration turned to horror. We waited and watched.
They were waiting and watching.
When they saw the explosion, there was confusion. Was something wrong? The principal and teachers weren't certain either. Then it got very quiet as the horror of it began to register. But at 1 o'clock, school was closed. It had to close.
I felt as if my whole body blew up inside when I saw that. And I can just never be as shocked as I am now.
Seeing it with my own eyes really just scared me.
Once they had seen the evidence on the visual screen that there would be no survivors, it suddenly became apparent to them that they were dealing with death.
If he could still be alive, he supposedly defended himself pretending to be Claude, the twin brother of the deceased astronaut Ellison Onizuka. As his assertion was not seen to be credible, some fellow citizens set out for research about a twin brother of the astronaut. The astronaut Ellison Onizuka was born in Hawaii on the 24th of June. At the time of that research, there was no birth register containing a twin brother Claude. Claude allegedly claimed to be the younger brother of Ellison Onizuka. If Ellison was still alive today, he would look exactly like his younger brother Claude on this picture. The same eyebrows, same eyes, same crow's feet wrinkles, same nose, even the same hair parting. Claude Onizuka is a board member of the Department of Liquor Control, County of Hawaii, Hilo, Hawaii.
Resulting from another more extensive research by an eyewitness.
I also asked Ancestry.com to search for the birth records of a Claude Onizuka, the alleged brother of the astronaut Ellison Onizuka. According to Wikipedia's entry on Ellison Onizuka, his father was the late lamented Masamitsu Onizuka. His mother is Mitsu Onizuka. Result of the search? Your search for Claude Onizuka returned 0 good matches. Here's the screenshot of the birth register. Just to be sure, I redid the search for Claude Onizuka, this time without specifying the names of the parents. There were 36 results, none of which was Claude Onizuka. In other words, according to Ancestry.com, at the time of this research, no one named Claude Onizuka had ever been born in the United States.
5th, Judith Resnik, mission specialist of the Challenger.
Judith Arlene Resnik, born on April 5, 1949. What of importance can be said about her? With a PhD in electrical engineering, she was a mission specialist of the Challenger. She was the second female American astronaut and the first Jewish American astronaut to fly in space. And now comes the interesting part. At Yale Law School, there is a chair held by a professor named Judith Resnik. The same name, this may occasionally happen. However, not only is it remarkable that now she is exactly 30 years older than the astronaut Judith Resnik when she was killed. She has exactly the same name, the same appearance, and the same voice as the deceased astronaut. And what is she doing at the Yale Law School? She's a professor of law for the Arthur Lehman program. Now, let's return to compare the pictures. Like the astronaut Judith Resnik, this professor has dark, curly hair, dark eyes, the same shaped eyebrow, and the same lines on both sides of the face extending up from the jaw. What else can we see? Their mouth, the way they look, and their gestures are exactly the same. Here is another picture to compare. Look here at her mouth. The upper lip of both Judith Resniks form a slight peak when they speak. Do you see this? And is all this at random or coincidental? Hereinafter, 2 elaborate investigations are presented about Judith Resnik as witness reports. Whoever compares the voices of astronaut Judith Resnik 30 years ago along with Professor Judith Resnik comes to the conclusion it's about one and the same woman. So let's finally listen to this voice comparison. Judith Resnik before and after 30 years.
Well, I too am glad to be here one more time, and I am hoping that the affliction that Steve Hawley had from the 41D mission specialist of the delays hasn't rubbed off on me. And
there were fewer than 40 federal judges around the United States, and they didn't need a building of their own. They were tucked into facilities like this. And of course, what the U.S. government did was this was a form of tax, and Marine hospitals, health care.
And I think the guys behind me are hoping that it hasn't also. Otherwise, they might throw me.
Of course, is the Civil War, and with the Civil War and the North conquest of the South.
Otherwise, they might throw me off the flight.
The U.S. federal government owned
and I will now introduce
about 50 buildings
Ellison Onizuka
around the entire
hoping that it has,
United
as they might
States.
Throw me
And
off
none
the
of the
flight.
Are all these inconsistencies pure coincidences, or is it about a worldwide deception of enormous proportions?
One must not mistake the majority for the truth.
6th, Sharon Christa McAuliffe, payload specialist of the Challenger.
On September 2nd, 1948, Sharon Christa McAuliffe was born. She too was one of the astronauts killed on the Challenger. She was a teacher for social studies at Concord High School in New Hampshire, where she was selected from more than 11,000 applicants to participate in the NASA project Teacher in Space. If the Challenger had not exploded, she would have been the first teacher in outer space. Had she not died in the Challenger disaster, McAuliffe would be 68 years old today. In the course of the research about the Space Shuttle deception, also for Sharon McAuliffe, apparently an exact double was found with the same looks and, believe it or not, with the same name. Even considering the 30 added years, this exceptional professor of law at Syracuse University looks exactly the same as the astronaut McAuliffe. But not only does she look identical, but she is also exactly the same age. Note also the details, for example, how her hair growth extends from the center of her hairline to the left of her forehead. The same lawyer, Sharon A. McAuliffe, who works for Syracuse Law School in New York State, is also a cousin of Virginia's governor, Terry McAuliffe. And he in turn had supported the re-election of Clinton and the election of his wife Hillary as her campaign chairman. Furthermore, he stood up for the support of NASA, in particular for the matter of the rocket launching site on Wallops Island, Virginia, in the Atlantic Ocean.
In all these researches, it is important to state that it would be one thing if a single crew member of the Challenger would resemble to a person still alive. That could be dismissed as a mere coincidence. But it is quite a different thing if 6 members from one and the same Challenger crew have a look-alike, living in one and the same country, and in not less than 4 cases even have the same name. The rough guess of a physics teacher is summarizing this probability with the following figures and illustrations. By using a binomial distribution, one can ascertain how likely it is that an event with this probability occurs 4 times within 10 years. Roughly guessed, this leads to a probability of about 10 raised to the power of minus 160. For comparison, the probability of being hit from space debris is indicated by computing experts with a probability of about 6 times 10 raised to the power of minus 13. So it is more likely to be hit by some comet fragments 7 times in your life than such a collection of lookalikes would come about. But probably this figure is even much higher. What kind of people would the NASA be composed of if they are able to lie deliberately and to bluff a whole world for more than 30 years? After all, the NASA is an institution which is devouring multi-digit billion-dollar amounts of tax money and private donations every year. What does it mean if not less than 4 elite universities would be involved only in the worldwide space shuttle fraud? The following questions must be absolutely clarified. Who else could be involved into this fraud? Considering all the astronauts presumed dead would then be found as lawyers, jurists, financial experts, etc. So if the entire NASA, astronauts and professors of law, in other words, elite instructors, of teachers, etc., would be involved in a global fraud?
The footage you've just reviewed may shock many of those who've watched it. I myself am always shocked at the lengths the powers that be go to for control of the narratives they are trying to achieve. Anyone listening to the German computer analysts' report stating the mathematical probability that you're more likely to be hit 7 times in your life by comet fragments than this amount of people living with the same names, ages, 2 having twin brothers that have no birth records, while all having the same remarkable looks is completely illogical. I leave you all now with the Brevard County submission of evidence from 2024. The Council's response to the presented evidence is nothing short of fascinating.
A little backstory. I think we all remember the Challenger explosion that took place in 1986 that tragically took the lives of all 7 astronauts on board. It launched not too far from where we're standing here today. Well, the interesting thing is, a couple decades later, this thing called the Internet came about, and someone allegedly found almost all of those astronauts alive and well, many using the same exact names. As you can see here, we have Challenger astronaut Judith Resnik and also Judith Resnik, Yale law professor. Michael J. Smith, the pilot of the Challenger astronaut, and also professor at University of Wisconsin, now retired Michael J. Smith. Commander Dick Scobie, who is now president of Cows and Trees. Now, if you'll notice, they all have the exact same faces 30 some odd years later, the same exact name, and they are the same age. Now, we all have a doppelganger out there, right? No big deal. But to have the same face, the same age, and the same exact name is extremely rare. So rare I could only find one case in the last 120 years. And we're supposed to believe that 3 people from one space flight have exact lookalikes that have the same age and same exact names. This, ladies and gentlemen, is beyond statistically impossible. Ms. Resnik was questioned at Yale by a journalist, and she panicked and ran from the camera. Why? Mr. Michael J. Smith was also questioned, and he said, yeah, we look alike, but that's not me. You can see both of these exchanges in a film called Level With Me, and you can be the judge. Mr.
Sir, I'm going to
have
to stop.
Sir, this is a public comment.
I know what it is, sir. I'm very familiar with the public comment.
Okay.
And part of the public comment is that you're only allowed to address things that we have jurisdiction over. We have no
I have a direct request at the end of this that is in your purview, sir, please. I do. Can we hold the time, please? I have a direct request that...
listen to me.
Okay.
Very carefully. Mr. Richardson, would you give an opinion in regards to this, please?
Yes, public comment is reserved for issues or topics that are under the jurisdiction or control of the county commission or that are relevant to the business of the county commission. So if your request at the end is going to explain why that falls into any of this, make that request now before you continue.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, I'll just end it with what I was ending with. But the ask is that Ms. Pritchett, who knows very well about questioning science, whether it be COVID or fluoride, I'm just asking you all to question the science here. Your Goodson and Pritchett, your district covers the Kennedy Space Center. This launched from the Kennedy Space Center. You have the ability to help me in sounding the alarm and asking the federal government for help. If this is contained in your area, I should be able to at least address something that happened here. Don't you agree?
That's not within the jurisdiction or authority of the county commission.
Thank you very much.
Will you let me finish for at least 10 seconds?
No, sir, you're finished. Thank you.
Thank you for taking away my freedom of speech today in here.
I did not take away your freedom of speech.
Yes, you did.
I don't want to hear it from you people down here.
Just because this is an uncomfortable topic.
Officers, please remove this man from the room.
You just violated the First Amendment.
I didn't violate the First Amendment.
No, he
violated the rules.
This is a limited public forum, and the meeting is for the purpose of the business of the county commission. It's not for this purpose.
Now, if you want to go too, take him out too. Officer, take him out also.
Everyone just calm down. They can leave willingly.
Wow.
No, we're leaving willingly. You don't have to remove us.
You just made a decision about NASA. You're making your decisions based. You violated the First Amendment.
Thank you very much for your opinion.
Yeah, maybe check reading it out again.
These astronauts are alive, by the way. Look it up. You can't have 3 doppelgangers. Can't. Same face, same name, same age. It's impossible. Look it up. Statistically impossible.
On Point Behavioral Center's right down the street. That's where I suggest you go.
Just because you think this is a mental problem, I should still be able to talk. It's your opinion, sir.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, y'all have a good one. All right, take care. Thanks. As I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted and my First Amendment was violated during the public comment period here in Brevard County, I was saying that Mr. Scobie is the most interesting because not only does he have the same age, same face, same name, same slanted eye in the cheek if you look very closely, get this, he created a company called Cows and Trees, and the promo video has a cow blasting off strapped to a rocket, leaving a smoke trail eerily similar to that of the Challenger explosion. You couldn't make this up if you tried. That's why I today am calling on the Brevard County Commissioners to stand with me in demanding the Senate Subcommittee on Space Science open a new investigation into the Challenger explosion. Because if this is all one big coincidence, no big deal. But if it's true, people watch what they believe were 7 people blown up on live television, inflicting emotional and psychological trauma on millions of Americans. And we deserve to know why on earth something like that would be done. And like I was saying to Commissioner Pritchett and Commissioner Goodson, the only reason I'm back in here is because NASA ignored my last request and was completely unresponsive about the ISS discrepancies. I was blocked by their public affairs officer after one polite request. Commissioner Pritchett and Commissioner Goodson cover the area that contains the Kennedy Space Center. So I was just simply hoping that they would be able to help me in some way since it is their territory. I still thank them for their time, and I wish I was able to finish my speech, but we finished outside, and that's good enough. I hope we can get some transparency with NASA one way or another.